Yeah, it took me a minute. Yeah, yeah, yeah. My bad. I was on the road, but I'm live now. So give me a minute. I'm just setting up, bro. Okay. Whoa. I know. I dropped. Peace, 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 peace. We're gonna wrap this little series up and then introduce a little new perspective. Hope everybody having a good day. I know everybody's schedule is different. So if you're at work, get your headphones on so you won't get in trouble. If you work from home, peace and love. Whatever you do, peace and love. If you got your earplug on, if you watching, if you like the teachings, gratitude. But I always like to share my other platforms, and we have a Temple and School page, and it's called Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. If you haven't subscribed to our Temple and School YouTube channel, you know, it would be my honor if you do. And every Friday around 7 p.m. AZ time zone, we have a book club where my different muftis, a lot of my noble mufti ministers, they go over different books and different topics, and they offer them as well. Saturday we have a DAP class or history class where we go over history, science, and civics, and then Sunday we have Sunday school. But through the through my week, I have time because I do a lot of things from home, and I'm at the level where I have honored to be able to go to and fro without no one on me like that. And so I like to just share this, what I've learned with the world and my little piece of what the Creator has put in me to give to society. And it's on you if you like to teach us, if you like to support, and if you just like to be here to listen, gratitude to you as well. But I give you honor and respect me as I will respect you. But for the last 2 days, I had I was going over a specific topic, and I was going over, when I say it's nothing secret, but it's a sacredness to everything, and nothing is hidden. A lot of people are just not introduced. So it's nothing wrong with being initiated into wisdom or to understand it. It's just like if you're going through the ranks of academia, elementary, middle school, high school. If you go to community college, then if you get a 4-year degree or a master's degree, then a doctorate, so on and so forth. The same thing if you study in martial arts. You start at the soul and go, and you go to a certain level of your degrees, of your understanding. But it's no push. You get there based on your understanding and your level, you know? So I'm gonna finish the topic that we was on, the sacredness of everything, and then I'm gonna just give a little bit of, how can I call it, the sacredness of the universe when we deal with scientific matter and we just deal with things, you know, as philosophers, as thinkers, no matter what a person believe in, we just here to open up your chamber. So we uh, we introduced the sacredness of everything, and we spoke on how everything is mental. And some of the topic was integrative mindset, and we were talking about having complete perception. We spoke on that. We spoke on the secret of speed. I'm just giving a recap. We spoke on the secret of power. We spoke on the three factors of intention, which is will, desire, and belief. And let's see, what else did we touch on? I'm trying to get to my bullets. So, and self-mastery depends on powers of concentration. I don't know if we hit that part. Let me look through my notes. I think I used to say developing your power of concentration. Yeah, I think we hit that. Yeah, we hit that. Yeah, we definitely hit that. I remember. Success depends on well concentrated efforts. And I think that's where we need to pick up. It'll come to me if we already got to it, but I don't think I hit on these certain topics, these certain bullets right here. But I want to speak on success depends on a well concentrated efforts. So the successful lives are concentrated lives. The utterly helpless multitude that sooner or later have to be cared for by charity are those that were never able to concentrate and who have become the victims of negative ideas. Concentration means success because you are better able to govern yourself and centralize your mind. You become more in earnest in what you do, and this almost invariably improves your chances for success. He or she who does not rule him or herself is not a success. Think about what I said. The person that can direct his or her energies and hold them at work in a concentrated manner controls his or her every work and act, and thereby gain powers to control others. He or she can make every move serve a useful end, and every thought a noble purpose. It's just like when we speak in analogy or parables, everything is going to be for a purpose. Wisdom is going to come out with every word. And when you can control yourself, you can control others. You can develop a will that will make you a giant compared with the man that lacks willpower. I guarantee you this. Try out your willpower in different ways until you have it under such control that just as soon as you decide to do a thing, you go ahead and do it. This is what I'm talking about, y'all. This is what I'm talking about. When you learn how to concentrate and reinforce your thoughts, you control your mental creations. They in turn to mold your physical environment, and you become the masters of what? Circumstances, and the ruler of what? Your kingdom. This is what need to be taught in the womb when we talk about the clock of destiny. Success depends on well concentrated efforts. You must use every mental force you can master. The more these are used, the more they increase. Therefore, the more you accomplish today, the more force you will have at your disposal with which to solve your problems tomorrow. So by attending to each day's work properly, you can develop the capacity to do a great work tomorrow. That's the gradual development that makes possible the carrying out of big plans. Think about it. Because every time you have big plans is what? Prepared. Tackle everything with a feeling that you will utilize all the power within you to make it a success or to make it successful. This is the kind of concentrated effort that succeeds. So never think of the ways in which weak or sickly people do things. Always think of the way strong people do things. Spend your leisure time in thinking about the strong way until you have a good conception of being strong. And always think of yourself in connection with the strong way of doing things. So a man or a woman who thinks energy manifests energy. That vessel who thinks courage manifests courage. That vessel, I can and I will, it gets there, while the I can't, that individual gets left. You know that to be true. Everyone knows that because your words are spells. What causes the different movement or the different shift? Your thought, just plain thought. And then sometimes we may ask why. Well, just because it cannot help itself, because action follows as the natural result of vigorous thinking. So you think in earnest, and action does not rest. Thought is the greatest thing in the world. These are keys. And when we have this clear understanding, you can definitely move far. So to succeed in business, the first thing you must do is believe that it will be successful. You must assert that it is successful and work like a beaver to make it possible. Difficulties soon melt away before the courageous. I said difficulties soon melt away before the courageous. One man of courage, one woman of courage can fire with his or her spirit a whole army of men and women, whether it be military or industrial, because courage, like cowardice, is contagious. Think about this. Consistency is contagious. Righteousness is contagious. You first clearly picture what is wanted, and then you concentrate on getting those things. We must have absolute faith that our desire will be realized. We must believe that it will, according to our belief, be fulfilled. That's what the scripture says. So when we don't have doubt anymore, what is it all about? This is about wisdom and understanding, that you have ability. You are made in the image. Never at this time attempt to analyze the belief. You don't care anything about the whys and the wherefores. You want to gain the thing that you desire. And if you concentrate on it in the right way, you can get it. How? Because these are manifestations. We're not talking about a magic. We're talking about things that can happen. When I tell people you should caution, why? Because you should never think you will not succeed. Why would you have it in your mind and say, oh, I can't succeed, and then start throwing all these stumbling blocks in your face, but then believe in something that you can't prove? I'm saying that you can overcome those principalities. We must hold the idea in mind until our vision has made it real. We visualize it. You can't give thought to anything that has no place in the absolute. You should only see what already exists in the objective world. But what we visualize already exists in a spiritual world. And this visualization is the substance of what will one day appear in the objective world if we are faithful to our idea. We must stay in this context. Never let another person's opinion affect you. This is so important. No one can tell what you are able to do. No parent, no one. No teacher, not even I. We don't know what you can do with your forces and with your energy when it's combusted in the right manifestation. Others have power only according to the power that you may give them. In everything, never allow yourself to be attached. These are keys. To be attached means to be powerless because what you attach yourself to, you give your power to it. Stay in the context. So when you look outside sources to bring you fulfillment, you are giving your power away. And when you are looking to something outside yourself for power and happiness, you are making something other than your true self your source. These are things that we should think about. We may think that you don't have or you may not have power in some areas of your life, whether it be it with people or situations. But you can have power in every area and every level. You just have to use it in a different perspective. It must come out of you. That's why I say a man or a woman's is no stronger than his or her weakest point. Just like when I say a chain, it's only strongest as its weakest link. The obvious rule is to find the weakest point and direct the attack right in that certain area. And you will readily see that the main thing to be accomplished is to elude the vigilance of the conscious mind. Think about that. There are many ways of doing these procedures. The thing to do is to find out the best way. If one way does not work, then try again. If you keep at it, you will eventually. Because a faint heart never won fair, brother. If you can be done, if it is gone about properly, it can be done. It can be done. That's a fact. That's why when you're doing things and you're doing things properly, you never take no for an answer. Listen what I'm saying, stay in the context. Pursue the same plan in business that you would if you were courting the girl you love. Let me say this again. I said, pursue the same plan in business that you would if you were courting the girl you love. So what would you do if you're courting the girl that you love? You would spend money on it. You would spend time with it. You would fall asleep on the phone with it. You would do all these things trying to impress this girl. You would buy outfits. You would go to the movies every week. If you don't have money, you'll do everything to impress this girl. You would make your outer image everything. And you will try to make her outer image everything as well. So when we talk about the same type of energy, just focus energy, when I say pursue the same plan in business that you would if you were courting the girl or the man that you was trying to get. In the later case, a no or two or a dozen for that matter would not count. Pursue the same tactics in your business and you will win. Fortune is feminine. I hope, brothers, fortune is feminine. Just like in the biblical scriptures, Sophia is wisdom. Fortune is feminine. You know, and possesses all of the characteristics of the sex. Think about this now. When you must have something, demand. Do not ask. When you ask, you empower the person or that object you are asking to say no. Think about what I just said. Think about what I just said. My brother said, what did he say, Mac? Will you say that again? I'll say that again. You crazy, man. But I said, pursue the same plan in business that you would if you were courting your woman. He or she who has a firm will says, you go get it. You will mold yourself. These individuals do not lack strength. You know, when the mind is properly strengthened by the impulse of the will, it becomes a more powerful transmitter of thought because it has more force. That's why the ability to concentrate is strength of your mind. And when you concentrate at the moment, when you say, I want to, I can, I will, I must, you see, the proper concentration is a state of mental quiet when there is a peace of mind, where there is a harmony between the conscious of subconsciousness minds. That's when the concentration is partly conscious and partly subconscious. You know, there is a balance between tension and relaxation. Concentration is sustained focus. So you can concentrate better when your physique and when your physical energy is freed up for the task that you're about to approach. That means your mind is fresh for what you're getting ready to do because you have resolved other things that needs to be settled. Think about what I'm saying. Sustainable focus for work follows a rhythm of relaxed focus and concentrated focus. Work in waves between total concentration and total relaxation, cycling many times per day. That's why when we talk about consistency of intention is the key to increase power in anything. When you focus on something consistently over time, the more intense it gets and the more powerful it becomes in affecting your reality. Think about this. Think about this now. Being consciously attentive and holding your mind to one thing at a time. The concentration is a quieting of the mind and shutting out every other distraction unless mental activity so that there is full power direction. Silence and still all other unnecessary thought vibrations in your mind, in your intuitiveness. These things can dim your focus per se, you know? So I just want us to know that aspect of silent reserve power is most potent. Silent reserve power. You know, it's power in being reserved. It's power in a silent reserve power. It's very potent. That's why I tell brothers and sisters, if you keep your own counsel, then when I say keep your own counsel, that means you under a higher understanding. You know, the secret of the great thinker, of the noble thinker, is our belief in ourselves and in our inherited powers and our ability and our faculty to concentrate on the work that's in front of us. And when we are working, and in our ability to prevent leaks of power when we are not working, we believe in ourselves and make every effort count. Our village, your village, wise man spills his or her wisdom on every corner and talks to a lot of fools. And when if he or she really were wise, he will save up his wisdom and place it where it would do some work. And that's what we're doing here. The brilliant writer does not waste his wit upon every corner. In fact, he shuts the drawer in which he contains his wit and opens it only when he is ready to concentrate and get down to business. Like if you see me in my past, you're not going to see me trying to tell nobody or do this because that's not the platform. It's a time and a place for everything. When you're going to catch me in my place of business, I'm going to be focused on that because you know I'm going to be doing business when I'm on my platforms or if I'm traveling, doing a specific thing. But the captain of industry has no desire to impress you with his shrewdness and smartness. That ain't my mission. I never did, even when I was young. While my companions were talking and boasting and blowing, our future successful financier was swaying wood and sawing nothing. So I just want us to have that clear understanding. Power and responsibility bring each other. This is the science to know how to use your brain. In everything we do, we either progress or regress. With great power comes great responsibility, but the reverse is true. For with great responsibility comes great power. Responsibility is power. Taking responsibility is taking control. And when you take responsibility, you gain power. When you do not take responsibility, you are giving away your power to something or someone else. So to become more responsible is to grow. All growth is progress. All growth is progress. Oh, what is that? I got you, bro. All work assists in development. We never stand still. Every time we accomplish something, it gives you the ability to do something even greater than what you did. The bigger the attempt that you take, the greater the things accomplished in the future. This is a good idea to keep always in your brain, in your hippocampus, or in your mind. When you are uncertain whether you should do something or not, just think whether by doing it you will grow or deteriorate and act accordingly. Every achievement is a platform for even greater achievements. Putting your best effort in the current work, you are doing so that you can build a better foundation to better equip for the one or the thing that you want to happen. Think about these things. As I close out this particular topic and we get into just the intro of the secret of the universe, I want to share this with you. Faith is action, just like love is an action word. The more you physically take steps in the direction of your desire, the more you vibrate in harmony with it, and the more it will become your reality. The more you use your power, the more it increases, and the more powerful that you will become. Every obstacle conquered, every victory gained will give you more faith in your power, and you will have greater ability to win. Every little success you experience increases your belief in yourself. That's why the key to power is belief in self, which is confidence, assuredness. Something, the reason why you keep finding yourself unable to make much progress is because you consistently set yourself in situations that adversely affect your belief in self. Stop playing, y'all. Stop playing, brothers and sisters, and stand up and arise, you know, and separate from those things that, how can I say, are stumbling blocks. You know, I'll give you this little intro, and then we're gonna be out of here because it's a Friday, man. I got a lot of work to do, man. I'm putting my autobiography together, my book about my life and things. So it's taking a lot of work, but we're real close, and we're combining a lot of books I gathered and compiled. I'm putting them together, making a compilation. So we got a lot of things. We're rebranding a lot of things. So I give people gratitude, but I want to give a little bit of the secret of the universe and this is going to be a little introduction to what we're going to break down. We're going to do more like as time permits. It's going to be at different times through the day. Just please subscribe to the channel, and so you can get it, or you can watch it later. But please subscribe and tell your friends. I know everybody is on different time periods. That's why I like to do these lectures and these teachings, no matter who on here, and you can watch it later. But please subscribe if you want to. But I'll talk about a little bit of something. When a lot of people talk about on a scientific level, we could talk about the pattern of the universe, and we talk about the outer universe. And some of the questions were in, as we had these topics, we call it the college roundtable. When I was getting my dual master's degree at GCU, a lot of the questions the student had, the undergraduate students, was, why is the universe what it is? Is it really a universe? What is its structure? The basic things, space, matter, time. Is a universe, is there a universal principle? The equation of the universe? How far does the structure of the universe extend? How the being of God was presented to us, the data classified, what space is, what matter is, what time is, the structure of the universe, how the cause explains the structure, how the structure confirms the cause, the visions of the universe. And when I tell people, if you're a scientist, if you're a mathematician, you can get everything that I just said out of the biblical scriptures. But I'll just give an introduction because we don't want to be too long. Why is the universe what it is? That is the riddle of the universe to some people. But like I tell people, that, and for us as people, is understanding who you are. You know, but can we grab certain things? Can we have a clear understanding of what this world is about? You know, think about it. In reality, we talk about the universe, like space, time. What is space? So the first one may be agreed upon without difficulty. It is space, the basic thing in the physical universe. It is back of every other basics of the physical universe. We may have many different views about space and many speculations. We may think of space as an outward reality or as our way of seeing the universe. But in any case, space comes first. Upon one thing we can all agree, whether each of us may mean by space. This is, as we all know, a space universe. So what is space? Of what does it consist? The student may ask. We may speculate much about this, but again, we can, without difficulty, agree on the essential thing. Space, as we all know it and live in and use it, consists of three things. We call these three things the three dimensions or three directions. We name them generally length, breadth, and height. Two words may be objected to nowadays when we talk about three dimensions. One word is dimensions and the other is three. But for our simpler and basic purpose, neither objection would be made. It may be suggested, and rightly, that the term dimension, the term mostly commonly used, and which therefore we are using, means measurement, and therefore implies limited distance. Length, breadth, and height, too, may be taken as limited terms. Length may mean the distance between two definite points, which means a limited distance. Breadth also may be used as a term of measurement rather than a term of unlimited direction. Height also may signify a limited distance upward. These terms are not wholly ambiguous when we would signify unlimited space. It would be more unmistakably accurate to say directions instead of dimensions, because space has three independent directions. That's why the mathematician like myself and others will say those words do not carry the possible meaning of measurement as dimensions do. But it is difficult to name the three directions. Shall we call them north, east, and up, or X, Y, and Z? These are accurate, but people in general are not accustomed to these terms. They are, on contrary, accustomed to say dimensions when they mean unlimited direction, and to say length, breadth, and height when they mean the three general directions of unlimited space. May we not then use the terms to which most readers are accustomed, so accustomed that these terms are second nature to them when they think about the directions of space? But may we mean by these terms not limited measurements of a box or a house or geometric figures, but the unlimited dimensions of free space? This is what the mathematician means by three independent directions. And it is what the ordinary person means by the three dimensions of space. And it is what the mathematician means when we say and when we talk about a fourth dimension. What I'm saying is that in this sense of terms, space as we know it and live it and use it consists of three things per se. They are three dimensions: length, breadth, height. And we have said we may speculate about the space because mathematicians like myself and others may demonstrate a fourth dimension and fifth dimension, and some profound realities may or may not reside in the demonstration. But when we build a house, we build it in three dimensions. No man in the world has ever raised a cabin or a cathedral or either more or less than three dimensions. No thinker would know how to plan a structure more than three dimensions. Whether the reinforcements, the sublets of space may be, it is clear that the basic space, the space of common knowledge and experience, is of three dimensions. It consists of those dimensions. It is length, breadth, height. This is the first thing in the structure of the physical universe. I want us to understand these things. I'm just breaking a little bit down. Matter. What else does the universe around us tell us of the basic things? What else, is the structure of the physical universe? Of what else does it consist? That too is a matter of common knowledge and experience. The man, the woman who moves about and thinking in the physical world, and the man, the woman who spends restless days and sleepless nights in exploring the secrets of the physical world are at one in this. We in the work together. Next to space is that which feels space and embodies space and gives to us all the phenomena of the physical universe. We call it matter. But we know now that it is primary energy. We can agree to call it matter if by matter we mean that form which energy takes so that we can see it or hear it or feel it. We mean all of that which feels and gives outward reality to space. We all of us take this for granted in all of our daily thinking and activity. What is nature? Then of this which occupies space and makes a visible, audible, tangible universe, of what does it consist, you may ask? Here again, we are among things which we know. For even if we avoid hypothesis and speculation, there is much which now we definitely know. What do we know? Okay, modern physics, and chemistry find first and basic in matter, energy, vast, unknown, unseen, a primal thing out of which all things in the physical universe may come. We may, it is true, define energy as mass multiplied by the square of velocity. That is technical description of it. But that does not mean that this energy is the result of multiplication of mass by its velocity. Rather, the energy is itself the cause, because mass may be, and doubtless is, simply a manifestation of that energy, and the velocity is surely a result, a manifestation of that energy. Therefore, mass times the square of the velocity then is not what energy is. It is the way we measure energy. You see, we measure energy by its manifestations of mass and velocity. Here it is. I'm using the tools in my toolbox. And second, modern physics and chemistry find growing out of energy, embodying energy motion, that great, unceasing, unresting motion which feels and which is the physical universe. And thirdly, they find all those infinite complexities and variations of motion, those varying velocities into which motion differentiates itself, and which, when they present themselves to us as waves of light, of air, of sound, we recognize as physical phenomena: light, color, sound, heat, cold, hardness, softness, scent, moist, dryness. They are not dependent upon our recognition or experience of them. They register themselves upon mechanical instruments as readily as upon human senses, showing that they exist apart from human beings and human perception. They are probably not different kinds of motion. They are probably, as we know, that light waves and sound waves are simply different rates of motion or different velocities into which motion differentiates itself. We call them phenomena. We think of them in connection with our sense because that is the way in which we become acquainted with them. But they definitely exist apart from our sense, brothers and sisters. And if we remember that they are in themselves differentiations of motion which exist apart from us, we may call them, as we know them, what? Phenomena. This is that universe of matter or substance in which we are and of which we are a part. It consists in the most literal sense of these three factors: energy, motion, and phenomena. We got a couple more and we're going to get out of here because I want you to have these bullets. Time. Is anything else basic in the physical universe? Is there anything else which is of very structive of the universe? And of course, there is one other thing of which we can be sure. There is one other thing which every thinker agrees to recognize as an absolute basis of the physical world. That is time. Whatever our view of time may be, whatever, if you say it never was a time when man was not, okay, so you still agree that it was a form of time. Okay, we regard time as what? Basis. In eternity, everything must doubtless be timeless. But in the world, nothing is timeless. Time is of the essence of everything in the physical universe per se. This is, by universal agreement, a time universe. And when we ask what time it is, and how we may resolve it into its component parts, the answer is simple. We need not speculate how far time is in outer reality and how far it is our way of conceiving things. For whichever it is, or if, as it doubtless the case, time is both an outer reality and our way of conceiving things. The facts about time are so universal, so clear cut, and so familiar as to leave no practical question at all in your mind. Because time, as a matter, not of speculation, but of simple experience, consists of three great or principles or concepts: past, present, and future. We all know those. We all live in them. They include everything and make this a time universe. So, is there a universal principle, you may ask, as we almost are at our closing? Is there any other basic element in the physical universe? Is there any other thing which is not to be resolved into one or all of these three, which we call space, matter, and time? No, we know of no other. These are what all can agree upon. This is a universe. Of that, we feel very sure. Is there then any universal principle? Is there anything which space and matter and time have in common besides the fact that they are in the same universe? We need not speak now of their relationship to each other. That's a profound and subtle question. We are asking rather the simpler question: is there anything which these three, which are space, matter, and time, have in common? That's what you should be asking. Is there anything like a universal structure in all three? That's what you should be looking at. The synchronicity to this there is an immediate answer. There is one thing which these basic realities have in common. It suggests itself at once. It is that each one of these elemental things of the physical universe is threefold. It is length, breadth, and height in one space. It is energy, motion, phenomenon in one substance. It is past, present, future in one time. That is truly a vast coincidence. As a space universe, as a substance universe, and as a time universe, it is in each case three things in one: a unity, a synchronicity. This is at once the most obvious and the most striking thing about the structure of space, of matter, and of time. Different as these three elements are, they have this in common: each is three things in one. You see the power? The riddle of the universe now takes this in common. Each is three things in one. Did y'all just listen to me? For those that watch this later, I gave you the riddle. Each is three things in one. Each is three things in one. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. Space, substance, past, present, future. Think about that. Think about that. Think about that. Where the answer? How far in the universe does the vast coincidence extend? Does it include man? Who is so much a vital part of the universe? Does it include the creator, God per se? Who is the ground of the universe? Does it reach as deep as and as high as that? Is the answer the riddle of the threefold universe to be found in the creator, in God per se? We make no apology for speaking about God in this context, because a universe without God, the creator, the generator, the operator, destroyer, is meaningless now. For the day of the blind soul in a black universe has gone by. The stars and the atoms have taught us to see the deepest instinct of one who lives in modern universe reasons irresistibly. The fool, it may be, has always said in his heart, there is no God. But the modern universe leaves scant footing for such a dance of the morons. Even when the mind does not analyze, the heart reasons, and that is the deepest reasoning. We gain too when we do not overstate that reasoning. Little is gotten by claiming infinite conclusions from finite premises. It is better to put things within bounds and to reach certainties. Shall we try to do this, brothers and sisters? The equation of the universe. From time to time in these days, the world waits for new equations of the universe to express the newest discoveries in the nature of things, such as equation is hard to understand and sure to pass when newer things are found. But it is possible, one may believe, to work out an equation which shall be simple, which is self-evident and ageless. The universe about us is vast beyond our comprehension. New universes of stars beyond the universes are floating into our ken. Apparently, it is infinite, and certainly it is conceivably vast. The cause of it must be at least as great. This universe from the island universally. We always talk about these electrons whirling in the invisible atom. We talk about the cause of it must be at least as rational as these things that we can't perceive. Because the universe contains personal beings. Think about this. So I don't want to get too far into the teachings because the mind is made up of specific things. We're going to talk about how does space compare. It's so much wisdom in understanding yourself and understanding the world. And when you understand that and when you understand these things, life becomes very simple. How does matter compare? We talk about space. It's not a very physical thing. When we talk about the second great element in the physical universe, matter is much more physical. How does matter compare with such a trinity as the Bible describes? We know the threefold of matter. Energy, the primal thing, all sciences recognize it. Then there is motion coming out of energy, motion of waves, of electrons, all the universe of motion everywhere. And then there are phenomena through which motion in its varying velocities touches the senses, which is light, sound, and heat, hardness, all the all those imparts, all those factors of motion upon sight, hearing, touch. They are in themselves varying speeds of motion, existing wholly apart from human senses. But they touch us as light, sound, heat, hardness, texture per se. Then that threefoldness of energy, motion, phenomena show any likeness to the mysteries, to the absurd and the purely spiritual trinity or the unity presented when people like to stay in the New Testament. We're just showing you how the atmosphere and man's body, it agrees, and the sacredness of everything. You must compare these with a good eye. You must look at the threeness or the unity or the triedness of energy, motion, and phenomena, and such an absolute and inevitable unity that ought to be possible to discover. You should be able to see this unity. And it's true that there can be no more than these three primary distinctions in matter. So I just want us to have an understanding of that. Think about that. As y'all, finish your day. If you at your work day, I give you gratitude. If you're not, if you got to go to work later, I give you gratitude and safe trip on your day. I give honor to everyone. If you haven't subscribed to our Temple and School YouTube channel, please do. It's Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School. And check out our companies, MoorishHaberdasher.com, where you can get all Moorish American regalia, mypdfbooks.com, that's books with a Z, where we have all books that you can download to your tablet for a fraction of the price. We also have bindedbooks.com, where we print and bind all expensive books. And like I said, for all Moorish American regalia, for your turbans, your fez, your kufis, your yarmulke, your talents, anything, MoorishHaberdasher.com. Once again, man, if y'all need anything or how to reach out, my email, Goodman, GOODMAN, KHARY @gmail.com. My office number, 602-473-8767. And I always like to highlight a book. I've been highlighting this book for a minute. I'm going to highlight it one more time. It's called Alienable Rights, The Exclusion of African Americans in a White Man's Land, 1619 to 2000. And these authors are two European Jews. No disrespect. Francis D. Adams is an independent scholar. Barry Sanders teaches at Pitzer College, the Claremont Colleges in California. Both authors live in Southern California. Now here it is. They can talk about who you are and the atrocities. And you afraid to talk about this, and we wasting our time talking about others. When I tell you blacks has no rights. So I'll talk about some of the topics. Chapter 1, 20 Negros. Slavery is planted in the colonies. Chapter 2, attitudes hardened in the promised land. Chapter 3, the dark side of the Constitution. Chapter 4, the founding fathers at home. 5, free blacks, the heart of the dilemma. 6, the rise of interregional tensions. Chapter 7, the event of the Confederacy. Chapter 8, the toils of Reconstruction. Chapter 9, separate but equal. Jim Crow becomes the law of the land. Chapter 10, civil rights victories, civil rights backlash. Chapter 11, the new federalism and its legacy. And here it is in this book. You know, I don't want to talk too much about it. I'll maybe lecture on it later, but it breaks so much down. When I talk about you have the right to do things, to be who you are, if others have the right to say who they are and their sexual preference and be bold about it, why not you? I don't have no problem with no one's sexual preference. That's why I tell people, but if a person can stand bold and be born a certain way and they say they're not, and that's on you, and they say this who they are, well, why you can't say who you are and tell the world who you are? Why do the rest of the world have a problem with that, but they don't have a problem with no one else that was born a certain way and identify another way? No one should have a problem with that. I'm not Negro, black, or color. That's anti-Semitic, like to me. Just like when a European Jew, when somebody talk about a European Jew. So we shouldn't allow these things. We shouldn't allow these things when we are people. We're not Negro, black, and color, or African American. All those are misnomers. The Dred Scott Law was never abolished. The religious rights prove all this. The Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15, prove all this. I've been breaking law and civics down for so long, and we must rise. I'm all down with reparations, but once again, no Negro, no color, no African American is going to get no reparations. I don't care if you get that one attorney, Ben Crump, and talk about some reparations. He know going in that he's going to lose that because black has no rights according to science and law. It's civil mortis. A lot of law terms is still Latin. A lot of law stuff is adverb verb, and they know this, and they know you don't know it. So it's no excuse of not knowing the law in a court of law. I know these things. And I'm telling you, no misnomer black person would never, ever, ever in their life, in their children's life, or in their children's lives, get no reparations identifying as a Negro, black, a color, or African American that's synonymous to slavery. And the only people that's going to ever get paid for something that's created here in America and it's only owed as the United States of America is the person that created them. These is facts. And if anybody want to disagree with that or debate that, we can. From scholarship and from love. From scholarship and from love. We can come from scholarship and from love, not know what you thought or I feel this, from scholarship and from love and from facts and from peer-reviewed scholarly research, and I'll rest my case with no rebuttal. To see on paper, are you a Negro, black, and colored, or African American? Then when I talk about words, Sanskrit, when people talk about these words are Europeans or this and this, nothing. No, man, we talking about Sanskrit. We talking about words and transliterations and how words connotate to this and mean this and that and the other. But we talking about a fact. No disrespect to no alphabet people. What I'm saying is, if a person can be born a certain way and identify as something else and say this is them and go to certain bathrooms and fill out on paper, why do the world and why should you have a problem with a person knowing who they are when they say their nationality is Moorish American, when they say they race is Asiatic, when they say their status is free white? Why do you have a problem with that? Why? Especially if you're operating right. Because, and then we talk about the SF 181 form pertaining to ethnicity. I tell people to look at that SF 181 form and read that whole form. Read the whole form. I break this down to so many people and I say, man, I can't continue to teach others. I can't do this. And my people it's not grabbing me saying, hey man, we need you here to do this, having me on your platform. Why are we doing this? Peace, Noble Brian. This is what I'm telling us, man. You know, I got too many books and too many documents of talking about the atrocities of the misnomer black man and the Negro, and why we use that name Negro, and why misnomer black people still use those names that connotate and denote to slave. Where other people have the right to be who they are and change their whole sexual preference, but then we will let people, and even people look like us, to say we not this and we not that. We'll let uneducated people say this, but then they'll turn around and say they black and Negro, African American, and then say that they this and they that. And I say misnomer black people can never have a mission. You know, misnomer black people can never have an agenda. I be waiting for people to have this conversation. Misnomer black people, you don't have no agenda. Why? Because according to science and law, blacks mean death. So how can blacks have an agenda? How can a misnomer black person have a fair fight when you go in the courts? You at default, because according to science and law, black mean death. The Dred Scott law was never abolished. Didn't Abraham, before Abraham Lincoln was a president, research it, Abraham Lincoln was an attorney. Didn't Abraham Lincoln defend the Moor in the court because it was legal to be Negro, black, and color or African American since what, 1820 something? Research what I'm saying. Hell, it was on Jeopardy when one of the questions was, what's the law that Negroes will never be free or some. What the Europeans say, DD, the Dred Scott law. It's no disrespect to no one. No one can up here in their right mind, with their right mind, to look at you in the face and say they're educated and they're a scholar and promulgate some vernacular of black pertaining to ethnicity and then attach ancient on that. Especially if they're a Mason. If they're a Mason, man, you know you a clown. That's why I said no one that can portray that they are educated and a scholar and then promulgate a culture of black based on what? Based on what? It's no culture of black, nothing. Black was never used to describe ethnicity in first century. So how can you be an ancient black and black wasn't even used to describe ethnicity in the first century? This is impossible. There's no such thing as no ancient black. That's an oxymoron. Man, David McRitchie in Ancient Modern Britons tell you all this. And I don't even have to go get it specifically. I can just tell you what it looked and open it up for yourself. And you fact check the European, the Albion. Fact check the people that was in that time period that wrote a plethora of European writers. David Churchward, The Arab by Bertram Thomas. It's a plethora. The European that wrote Black Athena, Albert Churchward, Gerald Massey. It's a plethora. You don't have to believe none of our scholars. You don't have to believe Ivan Van Sertima. You don't have to believe Sheikh Anta Diop, Dr. Ben, John Henry Clark. You don't have to believe Francis Cress Wilson. You don't have to believe Amos Wilson. We can use the same European scholars. And we can debunk the same European scholars with scholarship. No disrespect. But I'm talking to my brothers and sisters that still proclaiming this game. As I close, I'm talking to my brothers and sisters. What do you get out identifying as a Negro, black, and color, and then and in the same voice talk about some reparations? That's like an oxymoron. You talking about that you a Negro, black, and colored in the same breath. You talking about some reparations. That'll never happen. That's like mixing bleach with ammonia. You about to blow something up. You'll never get reparations with a Negro, colored, African American in the same. That ain't gonna happen. And if any attorney or lawyer on here that, or you know somebody in your family that done said that, I bet you they lying, ain't no truth in them, and I bet you they won't come on here with it. And I bet you I'll show you the precedent in law case that'll prove that ain't nobody finna get no individual Negroes finna get no payment for being no slave. And the only people that's getting any payout for a slave is the person that created the damn slave. These is facts. These is facts. These is facts. And don't come with that person stuff, because I'll show what the attorney know what that person mean. See, these is facts. So how can we still be on some I'm black and I'm proud? I ain't say black wasn't beautiful, but black is not your nationality. We should not be promoting no black or your status as no black. We shouldn't. We should throw that away. We should be looking at this SF 181 form that's pertaining to ethnicity. And when I ask every misnomer black person, how do you fill it out? Every Negro that I see on this social media, they fill it out wrong if they haven't sit down and had a conversation. And the powers that be have no problem, because it's asking you a question. So when somebody's asking you a question, they say, you tell me who it is. You tell me who you are. So that means right off the bat, when somebody puts something in your face and they ask you who you are and they say, fill out all pertaining to you, that clearly tells me that you don't know who you are. And the conditioning, no matter if it's Eurocentric or Negrocentric, matter if it's in your home or on TV, has conditioned you to think you a Negro, colored, or African American that's synonymous to a damn slave. Look at the psychosis of that. Look at the psychosis of that. And we ain't having these conversations. This stuff ain't went viral. This ain't all on TikTok. Look at the psychosis of that. Because if you say you down with reparations and you promote some Black Lives Matter, I'm telling you right now with confidence that you'll never get it. You'll never get it. And the first thing that you must do is restore yourself back to your original state before you were tampered with. And if any lawyer, any politician, anybody promotes some black stuff, all they doing is straight up barbershop talk. It's straight up barbershop talk. And this ain't no sovereign citizen mess. This ain't no overthrowing no government. This ain't no expatriating from no government, stupid stuff like that neither, because I'm an American. I'm proud to be an American. What type of American I am is a Moorish American. Hell, I got blood in this American. I stand strong. I'm a scholar, educator. I got blood and sweat and tears in here. And I'm telling you, you have the right to be who you are. And if you don't know that and you let others, somebody that stepped on your neck, or let somebody tell you who you are, that's the problem with us. Because we won't teach, and we'll let somebody, just because they may be able to speak loud or they may have a whole bunch of followers, tell you some things and still promulgate some black stuff. Tell us that they educate, tell us all this stuff, and it still don't happen, but then blame everything on the European. That's the thing that be getting on my nerves so much. I be so tired of misnomer these influencers talking about the other man and that. I don't have no problem with the other man. What you gonna do? What we gonna do? If we understand who we are, the religious rights protect us. We have the right to not assimilate with nobody else. We have the right to have our own culture. We have the right to have our own literature. We have the right to keep our own culture. We have the right, this is the Constitution, we have the right to assimilate and not assimilate with no one else. We have the right to have our culture. We have the right to use public access when we operate in the right manifestation. We have the right. Your religious right trump all this. Do you think the Amish participate with anything? Do you think the Amish have a problem operating? No. This is what I be telling people. A lot of people just don't know who they are. When I speak to other people, they say, brother, when I was getting my dual master degree, I was in school with an Amish brother named Khalid, a melanated brother. He was like, man, your people just not going to listen. And he was like, they see you every day. You know, they're like, I mean, like, everything that you say has been proven. It's not hard to do things, but as a people, who are we? We can't even agree to simple things. And people say they love Dr. Ben. Dr. Ben ain't have a problem with talking about the Morris legacy. Ivan Van Sertima ain't have a problem talking about Morris legacy. John Henry Clark and have a problem talking about the Moorish legacy. No scholar in history had a problem with talking about the Moorish legacy. But in history, and I can, that's like all you got to do is get David McRitchie, ancient and modern Britons, and then certain names and certain words in history that you may think it means something else is going to relate right back to the Moor. And then when we started doing linguistics, when people play these games with you, I could clear that all up. Because an ancient Arab is an ARAP. Vladimir Dale's dictionary tell you what a true Arab is, an ARAP, not an ARAB. And I challenge any, no disrespect, modern Arab. You can get the book called The Arab by Bertrand Thomas, and they took out like page 293, but I got the original book that shows all the things, that shows the melanation of who the ancient Arab is. I got another book showing who the Israelite is by another European that stayed with him. And I show you how the Book of Mormon is plagiarized from the view of the Hebrews. These is facts, and facts are stubborn, but it is what it is. I can show you all through history that you are not a Negro, color, or African American, period. And the world is waiting for you and I to stand up strong. If somebody puts something in your face, and I ask a person, if the census was put in front of your face and they ask you fill out all these pertaining to your ethnicity, what do you pick? Negroes going to put black, or they go make a box and put other. When you make a box and put other, then you voided the whole so-called contract. But it says pick all pertaining to you. So then if you understand any tittle who you are, then you should know you on there. You should know what to pick. If not, then that's a problem. If not, that's a problem. And then that's where confusion comes from. Peace, Noble Moso. Yeah, I'm on YouTube as well. And that's where the confusion comes from. I'm telling y'all, man, you got these pro-black people, listen how they speak. They not, in politics, they say be damn this, be damn that. But they say go with the pro-black stuff. But then they say that wisdom. They say that they educated. Well, how can that be a form of education when you telling people to identify as something that's synonymous to slave? How? Can somebody please give me any answer for anybody following somebody that's saying we black people and some reparations in the same breath? And I'm telling you, you black people would never get no reparations identifying as Negro, black, and colored, or African American. You a slave. You don't own nothing. How can you get something? Only thing you get is civil rights. You don't understand about the unalienable rights. You don't understand about your human rights. Why? Because most black people say they're Christian, or you think that make you free. I show you in the Protestant history that you still was a slave. Just like when they wrote you in the chattel of 3/5. I mean, this is so simple, man. Did y'all ever see on Roots? Listen, go back and watch on Roots. And what was the father on Good Times? I think I forget who he played with his character. I think he was Kunta Kinte. And then when he met the one so-called slave, and then he greeted him when he was like, Salam alaikum. And then he was like, Shalaikum salam. And then he was like, man, teaching him about Islam. And I'm not saying Islam is this, not, but what he's saying is, how are we going to take to a religion that's enslaving us, and this, not, and the other, blase sleeve, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. But the same thing can be said for that Al-Islam. No disrespect. When people be saying one is better than the other, I can show you the same thing of the Al-Islam in the Bukhari Hadith, when the names are so-called Muhammad slaves. But we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that, because this skin was always a problem. You got to understand that. You got to understand that. And it's always, like Pac said, me against the world, per se. But back to this subject at matter, when everybody talk about reparations now, when everybody got they so-called in a tight, the Democrat, Republican, none of that matters if you don't know who you are. And once you know who you are, then you can have an agenda just like anybody else that's a group of people. Just like anybody else that's a nation in a nation, which is your right. The Negro, black, and color, or African American, you're not a people. You never would be counted in the nations of people. Why? Because it never was to be. It never was to be. The European wrote a whole book and a whole dissertation saying that the Negro is a beast. It's books that say the atrocities of the name Negro. I'm not saying Nagas, but I'm saying Negro. And we still use these words and then be afraid to speak about other people and Ashkenazi things and talk about the Jewish encyclopedia, and we let people say, well, you can't speak of a certain thing, and if you speak of a certain thing in a certain fashion, it's anti-Semitic. And then I'm an educator and a scholar. There ain't no disrespect. I can show you where that whole phrase came from and who made that whole phrase of anti-Semitic and why it was made, from no disrespect. And I don't have to come from no conspiracy or no nothing. And I can come from their research. I can tell you exactly who you are from wisdom, from scholarship. I can show you what's in their personal libraries, what's behind walls. When we say in history, when they talk about black, yes, they just describing a certain you, because really it wasn't Blackamoor. It's another name for Blackamoor. It was Blacka. It was black. It'll come to me. But it's in ancient and modern Britons. And then as you transliterate things and as you get common, you will say Blackamoor per se. And I can show you in this. I got it in my studies. I found it. I'm like, because as things being able to pronunciate per se, things is added in from wisdom and make it easier to speak. And it shows these particular topics. And so this is why I ask every time. Somebody showed me that little video of Carnell West and T.I. on there, and they was talking about your freedom is connected to your blackness. And they was like, Carnell West was saying all this, and no disrespect. And all these people talk this black stuff and all this. And I say, I don't care if you taught at Harvard, but okay, well, why you didn't tell what Harvard know? Harvard know a lot of their first students was educated by Moors. They have this in their royal archives, libraries. I have the documents. So why Carnell West is not talking about this? You know, and I don't care who you love, but he's not married to a melanated woman, which it don't matter to me. But they talk all this stuff, and if they so educated, why they don't give you the law? What is the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15? You have a right of a nationality and a right to change it. To claim a child replaces the birth certificate. And no one will be arbitrarily denied of a nationality and a right to change it. What the House Joint Resolution 75? What's the religious rights of the indigenous people? You can start asking certain questions. You can go to your downtown, to your mayor's office and ask, if you're from Michigan, South Carolina, and ask, what were we called before the Civil War? And ask, do they have a Declaration, proclamation of the Moorish Americans? And I guarantee you, most mayors got it and they signed it in 2012. And the Moorish Science Temple, is one of the oldest historical monuments in People Cities, because we have one in our city of Flint. The science is right. It's just the Negroes that's supposed to be continuing the torch is not right. They're not teaching right. It's a whole bunch of prison bum stuff, you know, and that's not what we teach. We teach scholarship. This is the clock of destiny. We teach you that you are people. We teach you that you're not Negro, black, and color, and African American. You can teach this, all synonymous to slaves, misnomers, that you can prove, that you can ask any lawyer, attorney, any educator. If your kid going to school for political science or fake African American studies, then they'll be challenging a professor, because a lot of these professors are going to have what they call mandatory reading, some Willie Lynch. And you can have your student have me and destroy your professor, say there ain't no such thing as no Willie Lynch letter, it's fake. So why are you, as a misnomer black professor, man or female, gonna have these kids read this Eurocentric or this Negrocentric propaganda? Wasn't no such thing as no Willie Lynch. It wasn't nobody back then dealing that. No first century slave owner wrote about no Lynch, or no slave wrote about no Lynch. That was the time during Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass ain't write about no Willie Lynch. Nobody wrote about no Willie Lynch because it wasn't one. Because black wasn't used to describe ethnicity in first century. The language is wrong. How words are spelled is wrong. Remember, it was a certain area. So in a certain area, words are spelled a certain way. So then when you start seeing all this stuff and you saying it's ancient and you see it's modern, it's going to destroy it right there. How? The linguistics. Nobody can deny what I'm saying. And when we deal with this scholarship of who we are as a people, the world is waiting for us to stand up strong, to give all that back. They playing with you. No misnomer black person, African American, or Negro would never, ever, ever in your lifetime, in your kid's lifetime, will get no reparations identifying as a slave until you restore yourself back to your original state before you tamper with. Until misnomer black people can agree to some principles. Until then, we'll be talking about all this reparations, and you'll be having all these people that you see on the internet and all these ladies and men having these conversations over reparations, having all these conferences, having all these college students going there. Man, it's just like a rerun. Nothing's going to happen. And I feel sorry for those college students not having the aptitude to ask those people up there some basic questions. I haven't seen one of them college students ask them some simple questions. What is the Declaration of Human Rights, Article 15? What is the religious rights of the indigenous people? Say, have the Dred Scott Law was ever abolished? What is Negro, Black, and Color pertaining to science and law? When we started talking about Latin, when you ask them about reparations, ask them would any individual Black people get reparations? Ask any Black people this, y'all. Ask any Black people this as we close. When I tell us we still here operating as some fools. We can't come together. We can't even identify. I mean, if the European Jew can identify with this yarmulke, if the misnomer Indian can identify with his turban, if the misnomer Al-Islam Muslim can identify with his kufi, that's all your hairdress. It's in the Bible. We still are not going to identify who we are. And if we knew who we are, and if we looked at each other like brothers and sisters, if we looked at each other as Moors and Muslims and empresses and our turbans and our fezzes, and if we see this walking past, we would treat each other different. That'll make the world treat you better. Because we'll be treating each other as royalty. We can't keep identifying with Negro, Black, and Color, and African American and smiling in each other's face. And all that's synonymous to slavery. And you can ask everybody, yes, it ain't nobody on here that can say Negro, Black, and Color, and African American is not synonymous to slavery. And according to science and law, Black means death. Anybody pushing that Black stuff and talking about reparations, it got to be something wrong with them. And we ain't called them out yet. It's our only people that's doing this. Because when I go to academia, they say, okay, well, it's for y'all to do this. They say, y'all got your own characters on the internet and social media still pushing that stupid Black stuff. And then talk about they know history and they know law. And talk about they got law degrees and talking about your freedom is connected to your Blackness. Stop playing with me. Your freedom is not connected to your Blackness. I understand metaphysically when we're talking about melanin. I know that, but stop playing with me, stupid Black person. You know damn well your freedom, when we talk about law and when we talking about science, is not connected to your damn Blackness. You know that. Black what? How is your freedom connected to your Blackness today? How? You can't even explain that. What? Because you got melanin and you think you got some more melanin and that makes you better? No, it don't. I'm talking about in law as a people. So you won't be looked at as a slave. So you won't be given things. So we talk about welfare, Section 8, some cheap government phones. All that stuff will be gone. We don't need that. What you need is an equal playing field as a people. And then where all the money for the misnomer Black people? Then where the reparation money at for the prisoners of war? You know, that was by duress. Say that they were something. And now today, our children and parents today, you shouldn't be under duress because you can say this boldly without a problem. If somebody else that was born a certain way can identify as a total something else, that's what? And then you think it deserves more respect? I think both deserve respect. But I think the person that the Creator created and that person understanding who they are is valid and just as valid and should stand strong, especially a people that's classified in the category as slavery, as chattel, as 3/5 of a human, today as Negro, Black, and Color, and African American. And why would we want to use those words that's synonymous to slavery? Why would you want your kid to grow up like that? And then when you see others in turbans and bonnets, you think they is special. And then because your kid have been stripped down to a slave, because in Black history, they talk about all this slavery, and you look at others as a special, and they dress like you. And they dress like you. This is a fact. The Celtic, all of them, they all you. They all wear your attire. All in the biblical scriptures, it's your attire. I'm telling you, man, I get so deep. Even everything was dark. In the beginning, everything was dark. When Paul was on the road to Damascus, he was going to colonize. They already had their gods. Their gods was a woman. They had the god Artemis. And then you see in these personal museums, they took the god Artemis, the Asiatic woman with all the breasts, and they made it white. Now, I'll go all through history, and it ain't no disrespect to no one. I'm telling you what this about, especially when I deal with this civil history. I'm telling you what it is, man. We have a rich culture and this scholarship, and we educators, and we're not no Negro, Color, or no African American. We ain't that. If anybody should be saying that to you and know who you are, you should be like, that's anti-Semitic, the same way the European Jew does. We should know who we are. We should stand proud. This should be a precedent. We should be signing things the right way. If you don't know, y'all should be hitting me up. What you say? The SF 181 form is pertaining to ethnicity. I say read the whole thing. Read it all. And it says fill out everything that pertaining to you. And then read what black and then read what white is. So you telling me you got a black Africa and a white Africa? So then when you read white, you should have a clear understanding of who you are. You should have a clear understanding. If not, then you need to read some more. Because the world is waiting for us to wake up. Any questions? I come from love, man. No way can I be educating different people, kids that's all different nationalities, and who I am don't stop them from doing business with me. Don't stop them from getting all their college books from me. Have me studying them. They are proud for me being who I am. Just like Angelo Solomon, the first Morris Mason. They don't have a problem with me having this wisdom, this form of aptitude. They look for people like that. That's what I'm saying. Wisdom is going to allow a person to live. I'm not going to die poor and broke like a lot of other my scholars, like Dr. Ben died in a retirement home because we were trying to just be lecturing and with so-called misnomer African Americans and misnomer blacks don't support that. No, I got to go where I'm at. I got to create. I got to do certain things. And so that's why I'm casting my net out and telling my brothers and sisters, it's a new day, y'all. Especially for us as Moors, it's a synchronizing. No matter what you are, a Christian, whatever and ever, it's a science that we should agree with. It should be an ultimatum who we are as a people, that we can come together as a people, because we're not Negro, black, and color, or African American. Hell, ask your mama and father about James Baldwin. James Baldwin did a movie called I'm Not Your Negro. Watch it. Did you think Martin Luther King let James Baldwin's sexuality mess his relationship up with James Baldwin and that wisdom? Man, no. Brother Malcolm, Brother Hodge, he admired James Baldwin. Understand what I'm saying. Look at some historicalness of how you were lied to and how the Eurocentric propaganda lied to you. And now today, if you don't have a good teacher like myself, or like my mom had in school, which is rare, or have someone that can teach you like my European Jews do. They have Jewish school, and now they have their own high schools and colleges. Who else is going to teach your children about your history? Who else is going to challenge the Eurocentric and the Negrocentric propaganda like I was able to do in academia? From scholarship, who's going to be able to bring out all the books that cost hundreds and thousands of dollars that the average misnomer Negro can't write about? When I talk about the Royal Archives and the Library of Congress, when nobody can talk about the scholarship and the research that we do because it's peer reviewed, when we can trump things, when we ain't worried about how no one feels. When people say today, well, color don't matter. Well, if color didn't matter, why did you try so hard to erase the color of the people that you're talking about? Well, color don't matter, and it's all love. Well, if it's all love, then you should have just kept it 100 and did what it did. So color does matter. Why? Because if a people would put so much work in to say that nobody like you did nothing in history, tell me why color doesn't matter. You tell me why color don't matter. You tell me why every time so-called black history, you got Kunta Kinte and some slavery stuff coming on TV, and you tell me color don't matter. Color do matter. You need to see somebody looking like you. You don't need to see a picture of nobody that you believe in that don't look nothing like you with long blonde hair, and the first thing a person say, well, color don't matter. Bull crap. So nobody like me done nothing in history. No, but that's not history. That's make-believe. That's Greek mythology. That's Eurocentric and Negrocentric propaganda. It don't align. And so when I'm telling people about the people, the world has no problem because the law is written, it's plain. You tell me who you are for the record. And now I tell my brothers and sisters to stand up and arise. What we waiting for? What we waiting for? We can support something just like everything else we do. Just like when I was lecturing earlier, if we put the same attention into our business and to what we love, the same way we courting a woman, we'll be there. When we go, if we'll buy a brand new outfit every week, take her out to eat. Hell, we'll try to buy her something if we can. Wash our car and spend all this money. Well, why don't we take that same effort in our business? Why don't we take that same effort in building what we building? Everybody know what we do is just here. I've been showing people things for so long. Now it's time for us to stand up and arise. Now it's time for everybody. It's time for us to go further. It's time for us to reach to our homeboy or our uncle that just sitting on the bench being lukewarm. It can take one person. It can take one person to know who they are. It can take your child. You don't want to go on and this can reach your child and I can help your child. Your child might be, teacher might be telling them that they Negro, black, and color. And instead of them running home crying, they're going to come back with wisdom and understanding. They're going to have a tribe behind them, someone to stand tall. We ain't going to let nobody of our children being picked on. We have a body. Our religious rights trump this. We are a people. We are a people. What people? We the people of the United States of America. In order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, and establish this Constitution to the United States of America. I'm an American. I'm proud to be an American. What type of American I am? I'm a Moorish American. I have the right to be what type of American. I'm just telling you. I'm not no sovereign citizen. I'm not no autotoxin. I'm not none of that. It's crazy stuff. I'm not no sovereign citizen. That's an oxymoron. I know who I am. I abide by all the laws. Any laws I break, hell, or that I've broken, hell, in the past, it's the past. I'm standing straight up square. And that's what I tell my brothers. Come one, come all. It's time for us to be upright. It's time for our empress to stop acting like they some B and some hoes and this. You an empress. That white fez with the gold tassel represents you. Why you think everybody else have power? The DAR, no disrespect, which is a European Mason women, which is called the Daughters of American Revolution. They done took your science. They wear your white fez with the gold tassel in secrecy while we out here playing. Everything about you, the marriage law, they done this subjugated you and then put you in lower, and then we always gotta, and then you look like you gotta join them, just like the misnomer black Masons gotta join some under them and have a potentate. No disrespect to no one. I'm telling my brothers and sisters, stand up and arise. We are a people. And once we know that, then we can deal with the affairs of men. Then we can start talking about a change. Then we can start talking about reparations, if that's the conversation what you want to have. But before reparations can happen, we must understand and we must come together and restore ourselves. How? Back to our original state. We got to understand that no political side is going to do anything unless you understand who you are. And then once you a people, no matter if you Republican or Democrat, whatever the people choose to go, and then you will say, this is the agenda. No matter if you a Republican or a Democrat, this is the agenda. This is the agenda. But if you understand law and things, you should vote on law and policy. You should be worrying about an individual because the individual is going to do nothing. They can say a whole bunch of stuff in the campaign. They can raise billions of dollars in the campaign and do nothing. So you should be concerned more on law and policy and then trickling things down to local and state and understanding local and state and operating how things can affect you and your community and then move accordingly. But with that being said, I end with this. You are not Negro, color, African American, or Negro. Your nationality is Moorish American. Your race, we agree as Asiatic, and your status is free white. We are white by law. If you don't understand that, I can teach you this. You can be educated on this. We have to remove spookism and things that we don't know. We have to stop dissing it and educate ourselves on some things, on principle. And until then, that's how we'll be able to operate. Because when you look at the etymology of the so-called word black and bleak, that ain't got nothing to do with you. Now, you research it. You research it. You research the etymology and you come back to me and have a conversation. I'm telling you, we must stand up and arise. And if y'all need anything, any books, anything, no disrespect, I don't like to call out any other companies, but y'all don't have to go to no other platforms and get nothing. I have everything converted to PDF. You can get it for small donations. Hit me up, or our company can print it and bind it for you. mypdfbooks.com, books with the Z, and binditbooks.com, where we print and bind books. But if you're dealing with me and you watch my lectures, you can hit me up and I can give you my price. But it's only be for PDF books that you can download to your tablet. And you have to go to Office Max and Staples and get them binded. And they'll bind them like this for you. You know, and you can see how much these expensive books cost. They'll bind them like this for you. Or you can get them on your tablet. You can travel everywhere with them. So, like I said, anything that y'all want, you go back and check out some of my lectures, any books that I'm holding up. If you see anything on mypdfbooks.com, all you got to do is hit me up and be like, hey, I follow your videos, man. I want to get that book. And I'll let you get a book for my price. And, you know, as being my personal guest coming. but I do want you to do business with me, because I give gifts. So my email is Goodman, GoodmanKhary @gmail.com. That's GoodmanKhary @gmail.com. And my office number is 602-473-87. That's 602-473-87. Leave me an email. Leave me a text. Holla at me, man. Get some literature. If you give a donation, I'm going to give you something. If you want a fez, you want a turban, we make our fezes handmade with all the proper perforation for symbology. If you want a shemag, if you want this is called a shemag. If you want a turban, the turbans are longer, plain color. I'll show you how to wrap them. If you never knew how to wrap them or anything, I'll show you how to wrap them. If you order a fez, you're going to get the book that I gather, compile, and divinely prepared to tell you about the fez. I'm going to mentor you, and I'm going to give you a free shemag to show you how to wrap your fez. Because this more science that I teach is for your whole household. You, your children, your wife. This shouldn't make you separate from your family. This should make your family come together with understanding and reason. Clean y'all up. So with that being said, man, I give y'all gratitude for taking time out y'all day for this hour and about 30 minutes for listening to me. Thank for the Creator for giving my Empress traveling grace as she traveled to Michigan to handle some business. Peace to everyone again. And remember, man, you are a people. You are a people. Stop letting people tell our story. We don't need that. We right here. If you want to be a part of something, if you want to learn, I'm casting my net out right here. I'm a source of information. You want to build your library, anything you want to walk straight up, you want to know about this more science or anything else, you need regalia or anything, hit me up. I gave y'all my information. And with that being said, man, I give y'all honor. I give you love. I give you gratitude. I give you peace. I give you light. And I give you understanding. Don't spend all your money this year on some stupid gifts that the kids gonna tear up. Don't spend all your money on some clothes, some kids that they retarded and they don't even know what foot is the right and the left. Excuse my candor. I'm only saying that because I tutor and I mentor kids, and my Empress will tell you. I used to come home every day with stories and be like, Lil Tink Tink, fresh in the mug. I asked him, what's his name? He say, Lil Man. I asked him, what's his mama name? He say, Mama. But he fresh to death. I'm talking about, this was like some years ago. The little boy had on a Al Wassam leather coat. He had on some, what's the name of these boots? These wasn't no cheap boots. Some Morris. So like with the skin on them. I said, I'm like, damn, your mama going to Detroit buying you clothes. She's like, how you know? I said, man, I'm grown. I used to be I'm from Flint. I used to thought I was fly. I'm looking at the little boy swag. He dressed like a grown man, dumber than a nail. No disrespect. And what I'm saying is we do have the finances. We do have the resources. And what I'm saying, our children are not born lacking. It's just we're not attentive. And we have to grab our young boys and our young women and our single moms and even our dads and start showing them things, start connecting. I have a lot to offer, and I keep asking my brothers and sisters, let's connect. I'll come to your city. No way I could be going to these colleges with these college students, and it's 10 and 20 of them, and they putting $100 together, and I'm coming to lecture, and I'm giving them books and information that's worth way more than what they gave, and my own people can't do that. Let's do it. Let's link up. Let's come together. Let's show the world how to do this the right way. Let's show the world that we not sovereign citizens and Moors are not criminals. Let's show the world that it's a difference from doing things the right way. Because everything about this Moorish science and what I teach can be researched. It ain't no such thing as no trust fund at the end of the rainbow. The 10-10-9-9 ain't nothing but an affidavit. I show y'all this. I show how the Moorish science temple is set up. So we can defend ourselves like a lion and rest our case with no rebuttal. This is what everybody should want. So I give everyone thanks for taking their time once again and for patronizing us and for listening to me today. I gave y'all my email and my phone number. Check our companies out, morrishaberdasher.com, mypdfbooks.com, that's books with the Z, binditbooks.com, and subscribe to our temple and school page, which is burningbushtabernacle.com. Burning Bush Tabernacle Science Temple and School on YouTube and on Facebook. And we have classes Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And hit us up and you can be our private guest. I love y'all, man. Peace, light, and illumination.